أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين أبا الزهراء محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما فازوا وسعدوا هنيئا لهم. I begin with sending my condolences to the Imam of our time, Al-Imam Al-Hujjah, the son of Imam Al-Hasan Al-Askari, on the martyrdom of his grandfather, Al-Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, and a very select group of men whom devoted themselves to the cause of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam and were true to their word to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tonight's lecture, inshallah, I want to speak to the young men in the audience, but the principles of what I'm going to speak to apply to everybody else in a general aspect. My brothers and sisters, we live in a time where unfortunately there is enormous confusion for our brothers and for our brothers specifically, the young men specifically, when it comes to the topic of masculinity. What do I mean by that? You see that in today's day, everybody tries to have a say. Everybody wants to force their opinions on you. Everybody has a specific view on the world, on topics. And one of those topics is masculinity. As a man, as a young man growing, there are many different interpretations. Before, let's say 20, 30, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that definition of masculinity, you derived it or you got it from your parents, from your father, from your uncle, from your brothers, from your town, those people around you. And usually around those times, everybody in that area, in that space that you were surrounded by had the same idea, whether it's about masculinity, whether it's about femininity, it was about religion, it was about how you work, it was about how you move, who you interact with. All of these things used to be dictated by the environment that you grew up in, the close local environment. We live in an age where it's both good now and also bad, because now it is our responsibility to try to figure out right from wrong. We are getting a lot of messages from different places. For example, when it comes to the topic of masculinity, you see that the social media presents a face of masculinity. You have celebrities, they present another face of masculinity. Then you have modern day influencers. On top of that, you have your friends and you have your family, you have the relatives, you have your community. Each one of these people have a different view on masculinity. Now, and they measure masculinity in different ways. For example, there was a time in an area where your masculinity, your manhood was based on how rich you were. In other places, it could be how smart and what kind of a job you have. Other place, it is the physical strength that you hold. Other places, it is your status, your popularity. You go somewhere else, it becomes how much money you have. Somewhere else, it becomes how dominant you have. So you have all of these different people, they're trying to feed you, they're trying to convince you, they're trying to make you understand or at least beautify their own version of masculinity that's in their eyes. And a lot of these people, especially when you're talking about social media, about celebrities, you don't know what's behind them. You don't know what kind of ideas they have behind that. So where do you go to? You go back to your parents, you go back to your families, and you start to get the ideas from there. The issue with what is happening at the moment, and if you have a look, and that's why a few nights ago I brought with regards to the number of people who are depressed and anxious young adults. Remember, in Australia, one in every two young adults, before they turn 20, they will go through depression. They will go through anxiety. One of the reasons is because they keep on getting these mixed messages, whether it's about masculinity, about friendship, about life, about God, about religion. Everybody is giving them a different message. And what's the cause of that? What happens because of that? Is that people become confused and they start to form a distorted view of what reality should be. And put on top of that, over the past couple of years, we have the gender identity stuff coming through, and they're trying to push, and it's confusing people even more and more and more. People have not, young adults and even adults. I'm sometimes I look at what's happening and I get confused about how many genders you can actually pick. It's a spectrum. Wherever you feel, you pick your thing. So you see, it's a massive challenge for us. It's a massive challenge for you. Maybe I'm too old for it now. But as young adults going through high school, going through university, going through your early stages of life, it's going to cause issues. And what's causing is the problem for that is it's causing identity issues within the youth. It's causing identity issues within young adults. They are starting to have issues identifying their purpose in life because everybody's telling them do what you want. Before it was a straight road. This is what's expected of you. This is how you do it. This is the right way of doing it, and you move on. However, now it's all convoluted, intertwined, everything goes into each other, and it becomes very, very confusing. It's something, honestly, I get confused with, and I've been through it many, many years ago. So that is why when we have a look at these things, we always go back to the tried and tested. What works? What are the best role models? Are they the current YouTubers, the current influencers, the current celebrities? Do we follow what we are being fed through the internet, through TV? Or do we find a shining light from our history that is 1400 years old? The civilization of Islam is 1400 years ago, that we pick a person in there and we choose to follow their path. We choose to follow the path that they had cut out for us. One of the people that, when you have a look at masculinity, that you can use as a role model is the hero of tonight, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. One of the most amazing, one of the most purposeful, one of the most greatest characters, men, brave, courageous men to ever come through the history of Islam. Go further than that, in history. Because as we will have a look, from the Imams, we see that they have given Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas testimony about his character, about his model. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas didn't reach this state, this lofty stage of moral greatness, of moral courage, of performance in Islam, had it only been on his braveness. We love Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and he's great because he's brave. No, it's not the case. Or he's the strongest, or he's the tallest, or he's the most feared, or he's the most good looking. No, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was able to bring all of these characters together and then marry them up with characteristics that Islam had taught. Characteristics that Rasulullah had brought in. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِيُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. Rasulullah says, I have been sent to mankind so I can complete and perfect the best of manners. Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam He embodied all of that. And he didn't reach the highest level of masculinity because of strength, bodily strength, because of how tall he was or how strong he was. He was able to reach that state of masculinity that he is now an idol because of his moral character. He married everything up together. Everything together in one package. He kept all the sides, everything together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, when describing what a man should be, what does a man look like? What kind of a characteristic should a man have? And I've read out this ayah before, and the Sayyid read out this ayah yesterday because it's a very important verse in the Holy Quran. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه. From the believers, there are men who were truthful to the promise they made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you have a look at it. What kind of a promise did I make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, he doesn't praise the brave. He doesn't praise the rich. He doesn't praise the powerful. He doesn't praise the intelligent. No, he praises those that remain truthful on the path of truth, as we have been speaking for the past few nights. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this instant, he praises truthfulness. So when it comes to these, is that the Quranic definition of manhood starts and begins with integrity. Having integrity in every aspect of a real life. A real man, if you want to call yourself, I'm a real man, and you want to judge a man and have a look at a person, if they say, I'm a real man, and you want to see if that person truly is a real man, you have a look at some of his characteristics and judge. It's not by that he dominates everybody else. It's not I'm the biggest, I'm the strongest, I have the strongest friends, therefore I dominate everybody else. A real man controls himself and controls his anger when things go wrong. They're strong. They have that strength to beat that person up. But what do? They they hold on to their anger. They control the aspects um, of their characteristics, of how they act. They're able to grab a hold of that. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when it comes to the definition of strength, he says, the strong person is not the one who overpowers others. The strong person is the one who controls himself when he's angry. So Rasulullah has created a rule for us that when it comes to real strength as a man, that strength doesn't come from the fact that you're able to hit your brothers, you're able to hit your partner, you're able to hit somebody, you're strong enough to hit them and really hurt them. The real strength comes from that you being able to do that, but you hold it within yourself. Somebody has wronged you and you know you could hurt them physically, I can hurt them mentally, I can hurt them socially, but I choose not to. I hold on to my anger. I try to sort out my problems the way that Rasulullah wanted me to sort out my problems. Many of us can shout. A lot of us, all of us can shout at each other. You can have a shouting match. But so many of us can remain patient. And many of us can intimidate each other. But only the best can what? Can forgive. And many can win an argument. Imam Ali alayhi salam, a lot of us can win an argument, but so many can do it without an ego. Imam Ali has a beautiful saying. He says, every time I debated a learned person, a smart, intelligent person, I won that argument. But every time I went and I debated an ignorant person, he won the argument. Why? Because when you're talking to a smart person and you're having a conversation with them or you're having a debate with them, it could be about religion, it could be about anything. The intelligent person will listen to what you're saying. They will understand what you're saying and they accept if they think something is right. Ah, yes, you make a really good point. I take that point on board. That's a sign of an intelligent person. A person who is ignorant, no matter how much truth you put in front of them, you can go outside and you say it's nighttime, they'll still say no, it's morning. So Amirul Mu'mineen says there is an ego in there as well. A real man moves that ego aside and he uses judgment, he uses his knowledge. And that was the defining characteristic of Imam Ali alayhi salam, one of the characteristics of the people who he stood up with. Very simple. Have a debate with somebody. If they know about the subject, they're able to take it. If they are smart, they will go along with you. They'll say yes to this, no to that. But if they are not, what are they going to do? They're going to fight you. They're going to say that only their view is right and your view is wrong. And we've had friends, we've had acquaintances, we've had people at work where we've had these discussions with. I'm sure all of us have had it where you've had these examples. So, my brothers and sisters, when it comes to being the strongest man, it's not having the biggest arm muscles, it's not having the bodily strength, it's having a soul that is strong enough to carry the burdens of life. Al Abbas alayhi salam, when you have a look, and when we have a look at all these facts, when we have a look at the life of Al Abbas, the life of any of the companions of Imam Al Hussein alayhi salam, the lives of the Imam, these are all lessons for us. Al Abbas alayhi salam, look at his upbringing. If you want to know how he reached this lofty level, you look at his upbringing. Number one, he grew up, you look at the household that he grew up in, you look at the role models that he had. Imam Ali alayhi salam was the father figure. Lady al Banin was the mother figure. The older brothers were Imam al Hassan and Imam al Hussein. The older sisters were Lady Zainab alayhi salam, Sayyidah Zainab and Sayyidah Kulthum. So you see, Al Abbas alayhi salam grew up in this household. And this, when we're getting to an age, when you're getting an age of you want to form a family, you want to get married, you want to have children, think about this. What kind of a child do I want? Do I want a little hoodlum who's going to run the streets and cause me problems? Or do I want a mu'min, a believer? When I grow old, he's going to take care of me. When I pass away, I know he will carry the flag for Islam, the flag for Ahlul Bayt. When I die, I know that he will remember me. Rasulullah says, when you die, only three things will remain. Either a piece of knowledge that you have left for the people after you, for mankind, that they can benefit from your knowledge, or a righteous son who's going to pray and who's going to fast and who's going to make sadaqah for you, or what? Sadaqah jariyah. You're giving sadaqah for something that keeps on going. A school, a Husayniyah, a masjid. These are the three things. When you pass away, this is what you want to have. One of these things is a righteous son. There will be a stage where each and every one of us, inshallah, will be at a stage where we have our own families, where we have to bring up our own children. When we have a look at, we go back to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. We go back to Karbala. We go back to the manners and the mannerisms and the characteristics that the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam had taught us. Al Abbas alayhi salam, in this household, how great was that household? Household of Amir al Mu'mineen. It's like a king or a sultan. Household where Al Hassan and Al Hussein were there, Sayyida Shababi Ahl Jannah. A household full of worship, a household full of sacrifice, full of humility. If you want your brother, if you're the eldest son, if you are the father, if you are the oldest brother, if you are the uncle, you want your kids, you want your smaller, younger brothers and sisters to pray on time, you pray on time. If you want them to have the best of manners and not swear, what do you have to do? You have to have the best manners and not swear. You have to lead by example. Al Abbas alayhi salam, to be able to get to that lofty position, he had to go through this. He had to be taught by the best. You have to spend the time and the effort. All of your time shouldn't be dedicated to going out with your friends and hanging out with your friends. No, there should be a time of learning. There should be a time of improving myself so I can improve my family. So in my family, my brothers and sisters, it's not just my kids. It's my wife. It's my brother and sister. It's my cousins. It's my friends. It's the people who surround me. Every single one of them, I am responsible for. So when it comes to Imam Ali alayhi salam and him bringing up Al Abbas alayhi salam, he didn't teach Al Abbas to seek greatness, but he taught him to serve greatness. And this is an important part for all you brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters, is that this world at the moment is teaching you to do everything for yourself. Make everything about you, about the ego, about narcissism. You see the people that are leading the world now, they're all narcissistic. It's all about me, 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 me. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he came to raising up Al Abbas alayhi salam, it was totally the opposite. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they don't teach you to think, oh, you want to make everything about you. They say make everything about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you make everything about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything starts to fall into place. Now, when you think about Al-Abbas alayhi salam, what do you think about? One of his defining characteristics is his loyalty. And the loyalty, my brothers and sisters, is not loyalty when the situation is easy. Not loyalty, it's not only loyalty, I am loyal to my Imam al Hussein alayhi salam, when I'm home in Medina and there is no trouble. No, loyalty starts there. Sacrifice always starts there. But the true test of loyalty comes out, as we said in the previous nights, when sacrifice is required. When you have to pay a little bit more than usual to show your loyalty. When it's dark and it's cold and it's rainy and you have to get into your car and drive for 1 hour to reach the majlis. When one of your brothers or sisters in Islam is requesting something from you and you have to drive a couple of hours to help them. This is where loyalty comes in. This is where you show your true loyalty. And when you do these things, it's not only a societal thing, it's a moral obligation that the Ahlul Bayt spent a lot of time and effort teaching us, my brothers and sisters. So the loyalty isn't just being loyal when it's easy, it's loyalty also when everything is collapsing around you. When there are 30,000 men wanting to kill you and you stand firm in front of them all, that's when loyalty counts. That's when it's important. That's why you hear about Al-Abbas. Out of all the companions, all of them were great. But that's why Al-Abbas alayhi salam rose above all of that, because he didn't complain. He didn't ask for anything from his brother Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, even though he could have been being the younger brother of Imam al-Hussein. You even read in the Maqtal, in history, that he never called Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam by brother. It was always my master. That is the kind of loyalty. He knew who his Imam was. That's why all of this culminated, all of this loyalty that he had came from certainty of knowing who Imam al-Hussein was. Certainty that if my Imam asks me to throw myself in the fire, I'll go do that. If Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura says, take off all your armor and go and fight the army of Yazid, the army of Ibn Sa'd without any sword, I will go and do that happily. That is my role. When I give, that is what we give. The Imams, my brothers and sisters, this is something for last night, but I'll tell you now. Being a follower of the Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam or any of our other Imams, it isn't the word follower that we use. We are followers, or we are believers, or we are lovers. My brothers and sisters, if you have a look at it and you ask the scholars, Imam al-Hussein doesn't need us to be followers. Imam al-Hussein on the 10th day of Muharram, he didn't need followers. He didn't need admirers. What did he need? He needed supporters, because there is a difference between the two. Follower, I follow somebody, whether good or bad, I just follow them, but I don't have anything to do with them. For example, you're a supporter of a football club. If you are a true supporter, whether that club is losing or winning, you're going to support them. If you are a supporter of the Ahlul Bayt, if you are a supporter of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, what is required from you is in thick and thin you stick with them. In thick and thin you follow them. If the Imam tells me this is how I should lead my life, I shouldn't say it's the 21st century, sorry. If the Imam requires this specific sacrifice from me, I shouldn't say no, I can't. I'm too attached to this world. This is the difference between a follower and a supporter. A supporter gives from themselves. A supporter spend the time, spend the effort, spend the money supporting the cause that they believe in. And inshallah, when it comes to the day of judgment, all of us will stand as supporters of Imam al-Hussein and not just followers. Imam had many followers, he had many admirers, but 72 supporters on the day of Ashura. That was it. That is the difference, my brothers and sisters. This is why Imam al-Sadiq in the ziyarah that he wrote about Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, he says, أشهد أنك مضيت على بصيرة من أمرك مقتديا بالصالحين. I bear witness that you proceeded on with clear understanding of your path, following the example of the righteous. So there's a testament from an Imam for what Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam had done. Why is that the case? Because in the modern world, my brothers and sisters, it's teaching young men differently, especially now. All of my talk is about the last 5 years. This world that we live in, it teaches you to take before you give, or take and don't give. Yeah, I'll do this for you, but what am I going to get in return? This world says be served and don't serve. This world says chase status, chase attention, chase wealth, chase validation. Whereas we have Al Abbas alayhi salam, what did he do? When it came to serving, he served before asked. He served Imam al Hussein alayhi salam before being asked to serve. He protected before before being asked to sacrifice, and without reward. And he gave before receiving. He didn't receive anything at the start. He received everything after his martyrdom, but he gave everything beforehand. Just like Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. That's why many young people these days, when you ask them to do something in the house, I tell my kids, go and do this thing. Clean your room. Do vacuuming. Before we used to do it without asking a question. Now it's like, what are you going to pay me? What do I get in return? Yeah? I think a lot of us ask a friend, ask a co-worker. A lot of them will do that. What do I get in return? A lot of people these days want to do something for you, but there has to be something in return. Whereas Al-Abbas, when he came, his question was, how can I help? And that's the question. If we're living in anything, you see one of your neighbors doing something, an elderly neighbor mowing the lawn, you go, can I help you? How can I help you today? I see that you're tired. I see that you're elderly. How can I help? This is what Al-Abbas alayhi salam. Al-Abbas alayhi salam didn't seek the spotlight. The spotlight came to him. It's same thing when we're having a look at the maraja. A lot of maraja, they seek the level of marji'iyyah. But the greatest of maraja, what happens to them? The ones that have followers, that have true followers, like Sayyid al-Sistani, Sayyid al-Khou'i and others, the marji'iyyah came to them. They don't seek the spotlight. They let their actions, they let their knowledge, they let their manners, they let their characteristics guide people to them. And this is what we should do as the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam. Al-Abbas was brave, was respected, he was powerful, he was beloved, but he always remained behind Imam al-Hussein, even though he had that lofty position. Even though he was the second in command of the army of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he always stood behind Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He always had the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when talking to Imam al-Hussein. Go and look at yourself for yourself how he conversed with Imam al-Hussein. It was like a little young child asking their parent for a present, asking them softly. That's what's his manners with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Even before look how, subhanallah, you have a look. It's if I go into the next story, I'll be here for ages. So Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, he understood something very important, that not every leader needs to lead from the front. There has to be leaders from the back. There has to be supporters from the back. You don't have to stand up in front of everybody and beat your chest and say, I am here. That doesn't have to be the case. But you can be a supporter. You can be a leader in your own community, no matter how young you are. Now, when it comes to responsibilities, I want to move on really quickly. With Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, he said, how, as a person, if I want to follow Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, how do I start to take responsibility? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us men, to the believers. This is a hint about how you take responsibility from the Quran in Surah Tahrim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara wuquduha al-nasu wal hijara. Oh, you who believe, help to protect yourselves and your families from the hellfire. Why? Because each and every one of us has a responsibility. A lot of people say, oh, it's not my problem, my brother. I am not my brother's keeper, as they say. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says each and every one of you have a responsibility, no matter how young or how old. As you get older, your responsibilities grow. Yes, you start to protect your family, you start to look after them. As an older brother, you look after the younger brothers, you teach them, you lead by example. If you become a husband, you lead your family. If you become a father, you start to lead your family by example. You teach them the right manners, the right characteristics, the right form, how they should live, how they should operate, and lead by example. Because at the end, you'll be responsible. If your son or daughter goes astray, you are responsible. If one of your brothers or sisters goes astray, you are responsible, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already given us a warning. Al-Abbas proved this. When the children were thirsty, what did he do? He went to get the water without being asked. He went and asked for permission from Imam al-Hussein to get the water. He felt their pain. When the king became anxious, what was his role? He went and calmed them down. He went to the women of Ahlul Bayt and calmed them down. I am Abu al-Fadl Abbas. I'm here. No matter how many men surround the tents of Ahlul Bayt, I am here. He calmed them down in a time of anxiousness, in a time of worry. He reassured them when danger stood between Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and he approached between him and the army of Yazid. What did he do? He stood up against them. He had the foresight. That's when he came up and used his strength. This is the qualities of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, and I'll move on really quickly to lessons for youth, my brothers and sisters, about how we can learn from Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and how to improve our lives in this world. But before that, please recite a loud salawat. Number one, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Number one, control your desires, because my brothers and sisters, the strength of your iman, the strength of belief starts from within. This is all from the teachings of Fadl Abbas from his day-to-day life. Number two, honor your commitments. Keep your word. Very important. The Quran emphasizes this point. If you give a commitment to your little brother, to your son, to your daughter, to your wife, to your friend, that you will be there at this time, that you will take them to this place, Rasulullah in the Quran says, honor that commitment. Number three is serve others. Do not only serve yourself, but serve others. Serve others without them asking. If you see a brother in need, go and ask them, do you need help? I can see that you are stressed, that you are worried. Do you need help? I'm here to help you. Most importantly, my brothers and sisters, always follow the truth. Ensure that whatever line you want to take, whatever you want to do, listen to yourself, to your inner self, with the Imam of my time, Al-Imam Al-Hujjah. Approve of this, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajah, or not? Is this thing that I'm going to do, is this on the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, or is this against the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? And stay loyal, especially when loyalty comes at a cost, as we have learned. These are the qualities of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, and I'll end on this. My brothers and sisters, Imam Ali alayhi salam has a very beautiful saying that he says, whatever you do, choose something to do. But whatever you do, that particular thing, make sure you are the best at it. If you decide to go get a degree, if you decide to become a lawyer, be the best lawyer. If you decide to become a doctor, be the best of doctors. Scientist, best of scientists. If you want to open up a business, have the best business and try hard at that business. If you want to become a plumber, become the best. Don't rely on, oh, I'll just get by, or I'll charge people so much. No, he says, when you do something, be proud of your work and make sure that you become the best person you can in that role. These are the teachings of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam in our Imams, because when they bring us up, they don't want, remember, they don't want me followers to follow them. They don't want headless chickens, as they say. They don't want sheep. They want people who are involved in society, functioning members of society. You're improving your community. You're improving the society around you. When I'm saying community, it's not just the Muslim, Iraqi, Shia community around us. No, it's the greater community. If you own a job, if you own a business, if you have a trade, if you are a professional, be the best in that area for your whole community. Because why? Because at the end of the day, they know Muhammad, they know Ali, they know Hassan, they know Hussein. They know these names. They know who these names belong to. And they can see, and nobody can come and say that these, as the orange lady says, Muslims, there's no good Muslim out there. You show them that there are good Muslims out there. And there's plenty of them out there. Doctors, scientists, engineers, business people, in every aspect of life, and we should be leading the businesses. We should have the best of the businesses. That way, when when somebody speaks rubbish like that, you tell them, no, look at all the evidence that we have. This is the life of Al Abbas alayhi salam. This is how he led his life. When he did something, he did it to the best of his ability. He wanted to become the best at what he did. And these are the lights that we learn from. I only have half an hour to talk about it today, and it's half an hour over 12, 11 nights. But the rest is on you to research these people, and it's so easy to do it these days. You have the advent of the internet, you have the lectures on YouTube, on everywhere. Have a look. Entertain yourself with the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and remain steadfast on this line. No matter how many objects are thrown in your face, no matter how many problems are thrown in your face, remember that there is always an answer and a solution with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. I say these final words and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this majlis, to bless this gathering, inshallah, and give us the honor of returning here next year again, inshallah, to bless us with the honor of seeing the shrine of Imam al-Hussein in this life and having him there in our graves in the hereafter, having him there as our shafi' in the hereafter. And I give the rewards, I present and I gift the rewards of this majlis to those among us who, or those no longer among us who couldn't be with us this year and they would have loved to be in these majalis of Imam al-Hussein. I gift that to them along with the gift of Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha preceded by a loud salawat.